Hello and happy Sunday, everyone. Today I'm going to discuss some suspicious activity going on in the stock market, some absolutely huge paycheck protection news, and the $1,200 stimulus check. But before I get into it, I'd like to discuss something real quick. A few weeks back, I started a challenge for this channel where if we hit 100,000 subscribers by June 6th, I would donate $1,200 to charity. Well, that unfortunately didn't quite happen, but I still felt like I should do something. So I did donate $500 to the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund. Just a little bit about them. LDF is a civil and human rights law firm that fights racial discrimination. And it was actually founded in 1940 by Thurgood Marshall, the first African-American U.S. Supreme Court Justice. And I chose them because of how efficient they are with their donations. And I'll put that up on the screen somewhere. I would just like to personally thank everyone who does subscribe, watches all my videos, clicks the links in the description. All that stuff really does help, and it just gives me even more reason to spend the time and the effort every single day to put out this content. All right, let's get into the video. I'm going to start with some questions from you guys that you asked me in the comments, and then I'm going to get onto the news. So feel free to skip around this video if you like, if there's certain things that interest you more than others. So starting with the first question, someone asks, with the new paycheck protection ruling, will the $100,000 cap still be in effect? That's for how much you can be eligible for each employee. So yes, it still looks like $100,000 will be the maximum reference amount for any employees or owners of a business. There was no changes on this maximum receivable amount, so no, nothing changed there. All right, next question. David Devov asks, I got turned down from the Paycheck Protection Program because I didn't have formal payroll for myself. I was putting everything I had into my business and only took out what I absolutely needed as an owner's draw. Is there anything I can do to still get the Paycheck Protection Program loan? So this question is pretty tricky if you got turned down. I feel it's probably for a reason that isn't lack of formal payroll. I say this because many independent contractors receive loans from this program by just showing earnings, so I'm not sure why you wouldn't be able to. I'd first double check to see if that is in fact the reason. From there, you can ask them what the reason is if it's not that. Also, you could ask an accountant to make your payroll more formal, I suppose. All that would mean is being taxed on your earnings and some kind of payroll summary or something similar to that. I am concerned that if you show very little earnings, because you put all the money back in your business, your loan will be quite small because it is based on your earnings. So if that is the case, you might actually be better off just attempting to file for unemployment in this case. All right, moving on. Okay, so I got similar questions to this several times, so I felt the need to address it. Laurel Schmitz asks, and this is paraphrasing her question, I'm living on Social Security retirement. I got the first stimulus payment via direct deposit. How will I get the second stimulus check? Will it be direct deposit, check, or debit card? I know it hasn't been approved yet, but I'm trying to see if there's anything I would need to do. Well, you said it yourself. Nothing has been approved yet, so we can't say anything with complete certainty. However, we can draw some conclusions based on how the IRS operates and how they want to get these payments out. The IRS would want to get a second round out as soon as possible, just like the first round. So for most people, they would probably receive the payment electronically, just like the first round, with no action required. That's for most people. From there, if you received a paper check last time, you'd likely get a paper check again. And then again, the same goes for the debit card. You probably get a debit card again if you got one the first time. The only difference is you probably wouldn't have to fill out the non-filers tool again if you had to the first time. So it's mostly speculation, but we can assume those things. All right, moving on to the next question. Sue Comer asks, I lost my paper stimulus check. What should I do? So this took some digging, and I actually found a solution to this. First, try the IRS number 800-919-9835. Some people have had success with that number. Some can't get through, but try that first. If that doesn't work, you can submit IRS form 3911. The IRS says that this can be used to track lost stimulus checks or other issues like people who have problems with their tax refund, you can find that form on irs.gov, or you can just Google that form number. Just be warned that it could take months before you receive a replacement check. All right, that is all for questions. Moving on to stock market news. This week closed out on a high point, mostly due to the drop in unemployment from April to May. May showed an increase of 2.5 million jobs over April, when the expectation was a loss of 2 to 8 million jobs. The stock market has been suspiciously positive for the past few weeks, even despite poor unemployment numbers in the past, poor spending numbers in the past, and that was just last week. So I've been very cautious because I simply have no idea what's going to happen week to week. Consistency has just been out the window in the world for the last several months, to say the least. Anyways, the NASDAQ composite closed up 198 points on Friday to actually hit a record high of 9,814, an increase of 2.1%. Now, I know tech companies haven't been quite as affected in the pandemic, but a record high, doesn't that feel weird to you? I mean, this just doesn't seem like a time when we should have a record high in anything. The Dow Jones closed up 3.2%, increasing a whopping 829 points, and the S&P 500 closed up 2.6%. Increases all around. Wild week. Take a look at your stocks. They're probably having quite the week. A couple big stock winners in the last month that I was doing some research on, and I just wanted to comment on something that's very strange to me, were Boeing and Airbus. Saying both of these companies were hit hard in the pandemic is an understatement. However, both have rallied more than 40% in the last month. Boeing has had a hard year. First, they had issues with the glitch in the 747 MAX planes that grounded the entire fleet, slowed sales, and then made them pay out millions to airlines. Then the pandemic hits, and none of their customers are buying anymore. Their stock was sitting at a 5-year low. Rough. What doesn't seem to make sense to me, though, is the future outlook of these companies don't match up with the stock increase as far as anything I can tell. Airbus, for the second time in 4 months, recorded 0 monthly orders for new planes. 0, not one order. Boeing had a few orders but showed the 5th straight month of no order growth. Another stat is daily passenger levels at US airports are still down more than 85% compared to the same time last year. So the question is, why do investors feel so positive about the rebound of these companies right now, when they show little to no sales, still a large decrease in travel, and uncertainty as to when it'll pass? It'll probably be years before they completely make up their sales. This is all just getting weirder and weirder to me in the stock market. So if you want to get into the stock market and be a part of this wild ride, maybe you want to just open up a new account and get some free stocks, check out the link in the description for Webull. You'll get 2 completely free stocks once you deposit $100, and you'll help out this channel. Best part is, if you don't like the free service after 30 days, you can take your $100 back and you can keep the free 2 stocks. Why not try it out? All right, moving on to small businesses. We're first going to start with some not so great news, and then we're going to move on to the great news. In not so great news, 722 businesses filed for bankruptcy in the US in just May. This equates to an increase of 48% over May of last year. The really concerning part about this to me is bankruptcy takes a while, and businesses who will inevitably fail are still holding on to hope. I'm concerned that that number is just going to increase in the coming months, even if the economy opens relatively quickly. I mean, as an example, my business has been open through the entire pandemic. We have 0 debt. We're about in the best footing possible to survive a situation like this. And we're still not in a great position. I mean, we'll be fine, but it's not great. So I can't imagine how highly leveraged businesses will possibly navigate what's going on right now. This statistic also doesn't account for the countless small businesses that have failed that just didn't file for bankruptcy, but just closed up shop. Or small business owners who held debt personally because their business didn't have enough credit and then have to personally file for bankruptcy because their business failed. I just feel for those people so much. I mean, I understand the struggle in business. It's already hard enough during good times. Then something like this happens that is at no fault of your own. It's just so sad. All right, let's finish this out with some good news. President Trump has signed in changes to the Paycheck Protection Program. This is huge. This bill extends the 8-week forgiveness window to 24 weeks, allowing businesses much more time to use their forgivable loan. It decreased the forgivable loan ratio from 75 to 60% that must be spent on payroll. This is massive help for those businesses who have high rents and the program just wasn't set up for them properly. And this increases the loan payoff period from 2 years to 5 years. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, who led negotiations on the change in the Paycheck Protection Program, said that the changes were a direct result of consultations with the restaurant and hotel industries. This made me really happy to read because this is a perfect example of things actually happening when people ask for them. We rally together, we ask for changes, we say, hey, these guidelines, they just don't make sense. And then they changed them. And that's just got to make you smile, you know? If you have any questions about the updated rules, feel free to ask them in the comments below, and I will address as many as I can in a future video. Until next time, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.